So we'll see what are the several options that you can use to synchronize your test. The first is synchronization point, insert exist statement, insert exist, insert wait statement, insert sync statement, which is specific for web-based testing, modifying the default load time of QTP, modifying default timeout settings in QTP. We'll go through each of these options one by one. So starting with synchronization point. You can insert a synchronization point which instructs QTP to pause the test until an object property achieves the value you specify. So whenever you insert a synchronization point, QuickTest generates a wait property statement in the expert view. I'll show you how. So I have my application open. Now we need to open a sample application. Need to open any application which will help us to show how synchronization works. So there are applications which take time to load, the object property to change, wherein some delay is added. In that case we can use the synchronization point. Now say for this example, when I enter the date of flight, I choose fly from and fly to. Now the instance I choose this option, fly to, this button is enabled. All these three options are selected, this button is enabled. So suppose we want to verify how long does it take for this button to enable, or we want to see, or I would say we want QTP to wait until this button is enabled before moving to the next step. So there's an option, like we insert checkpoint, there's an option to insert synchronization point. Now this is a Windows based application. I click on record, insert synchronization point. Now remember that, as I said earlier, the application and QTP both should be parallelly open. I click on this button. Okay. Now add synchronization point. If you see, it's showing the class, the logical name of the button. Now timeout in milliseconds. So what is this timeout? Now QTP will wait before moving to next step. When this step is okay, I'll add the step first. Property value must be filled. Okay, see, there are different property which can be verified with this. Now for this button we are verifying the enabled status, right? So property name enabled and the property value should be true, and timeout is 10 seconds. I click on OK. A step is generated, like it used to generate for checkpoints. Even for synchronization point, a step can be generated using QTP. Now what does this mean? QTP will come till this step, it will wait over here and it won't proceed forward until the button is enabled. The flight button is enabled. It won't move forward, or it will wait for 10 seconds. So either of which is first, it depends on that. Suppose for the 10 seconds the button does not get enabled, still QTP will move forward, or within 10 seconds if the button with as soon as the button gets enabled, QTP will move forward. So whichever is earlier. So in our application, you can see as soon as we enter the details, the flight button gets enabled. This is pretty fast in flight reservation system application, but however in your daily life when you come across different scenarios, for example, I would give you IRCTC site which takes a lot of time to load. So it's a very common example where a lot of people face issue. So in that case, what if QTP is executing IRCTC site and the page takes a lot of time to load? So QTP will throw an error because QTP doesn't know that it takes so much time to load. In that case, we can use the synchronization point. Now here the button is enabled pretty soon, so you won't realize the importance of adding synchronization point. So the point is that you don't have to add any statement manually. You can just use the synchronization point option and you can add this statement. So now we know how to add a synchronization point. So next option that we'll see is insert exist. Now what is insert exist? I'll just comment this statement. So this statement, insert exist statement, instructs QTP to wait for the specified time until an object exists before continuing the test. So the like we added this the synchronization point for this button, we can also use .exist statement. Now I'll show you how. I will add the object to my object repository. And I will also add the other objects which are needed for entering the data. I'll clear this data. Now suppose you can start from the beginning itself, new order. We can add the objects in our object repository. See, this is the win combo box, and again win combo box for flight 2. These objects have been added. Now when I drag the date object,